All rise for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's actually just for the public comment section, so that's not really, it's okay. I got you, Franny. Yeah, it's okay. Welcome to the public session of June 9th, 2016, the Board of Trustees in the Village of Southampton. We always start our monthly meetings with a recognition of an Employee of the Month. And this month is a little bit different than other months, and what we've done is we did a whole restoration project for the fountain in Agawam Park, and we had 4 employees that did an outstanding job, and led by Steve Phillips and his team, and John Fleck and Helmut and Ken Bleidenberg, and they were all in the Parks Department, and they worked together very well to redo that fountain. And that fountain has really been something that has needed repair and restoration for a while, and these guys did a fantastic job and really turned that project around very quickly. So very proud of them. What's that? Sorry, 2 highway guys too.
Yes,
yeah, sorry, the Parks and the Highway Department. Yeah. So to get actual 2 departments working together on one project is quite an accomplishment. So these guys did a great job. So. Thank you to these 4 guys, and congratulations. Yeah. And then also, just part of this project too includes, that Nancy reminded me, is a buy a brick opportunity. We're setting that up for veterans, and family members can purchase a brick around that, and hopefully soon we will have that. Yeah, it's not like we have any other thing to do, right? So, but we're working on that. So we have, just as a reminder, we have 1 public hearing tonight, so there'll be opportunity to speak during the public hearing. I had some people that had signed up here. So we have a public comment. So if you have anything you want to say that doesn't apply to the public hearing, this is your opportunity to do that during this. So. David Rayner, I know why you're here. So, Robert Fischetti. Well, actually, it's not the public hearing piece. So I'll call you up when we get to the open. So, does anybody have anything they want to say that doesn't apply to the public hearing regarding beach? Okay. So. Is that it? We have that on here, so okay, we'll call you up. So okay, all right. So other than that, so we'll close the public comment. We have no board presentations tonight. We have the we have the open public hearing regarding local law amending Chapter 80 with respect to vehicles on the beach. First of all, I'd like to take a minute to recognize 3 of the town trustees that are here. Scott Horowitz, Bruce Stafford, and Ed Warner. So thank you guys for coming tonight. And I would also like to say that we've been working very closely together to look at options throughout the town of Southampton. And I know that the town trustees working with the town board are looking at this. So they put a lot of time and effort. They've gone and visited a lot of places, had a lot of conversations with people, and I want to thank you guys for your efforts in helping us with this. So thanks, guys. So Rick, did you want to say anything in reference to this public hearing?
No. Not unless you want me to. We've already covered it in 2 other hearings.
Okay. Any of the board members like to say anything in reference to this? Okay, so, David Rayner. There you go.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for having us. My name is David Rayner, 49 Breeze Lane. In dealing with this whole issue, a lot has been said about compassion and history, and I think that's important. I'm just going to say a few things, and then I'm going to end with a situation that falls upon myself. What Kristen White said last time she was here, her family goes back to 1600s, 1640s. Well, unfortunately, we might be related, because mine does too. I was a Duryea, I was a Halsey, I was a Sayre, and so there's a lot of history, obviously, and it goes way back. And as a matter of fact, I hope history doesn't follow me, but one of my relatives, Jebewiah, was put in the village stocks here in Southampton for being a horse thief. So that's, hopefully I don't have those genes in me. But in relation to that also is very interesting. I don't know if anybody's been there. I'm sure some of us have, but there's a museum in Amagansett, right on the ocean. It's a beautiful little museum, and I just, Diamond in the Rough, found it. I went there a while back, and it's about whaling and fishing, and so I took the 5-cent tour, and I'm in one of the rooms there, and I noticed on the wall there's big leather, like shoes, big leather pads with big leather straps. So I said to the woman, what's that all about? She goes, well, back in the colonial days, they actually put them on the oxen and the horses to tow wagons down the beach to help the animals walk in the sand. So, as we all know, this is history there. It goes with that. I do have to say that in reference to some of the plaintiffs or to what's going on with the beach, Mr. and Mrs. Ariskog, Rand and Jesse Ariskog, are good friends of mine. For that reason, I got to college for horticulture, and I was working for a man by the name of Otto Mach in Meadowmere Place. So he sold it to Rand and Jesse Ariskog, and they kept me on. Wonderful people. I had a great relationship with them. And I know there's compassion there. As a matter of fact, when I was going to buy my first home, with the closing costs and down payment, it's it was a big thing to do. And so I was telling Mr. Ariskog, and he said, it's great, you're taking another step in life. Well, they actually helped me get into my first house, so I know they're good people. I'm sure they can work with the village. I hope they can. I hope the Ariskogs and the other plaintiffs can help us, and hopefully there won't be a lawsuit. And I'm just, people have goodwill, so I hope we all work together on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Robert Fischetti.
Good evening. My name is Robert Fischetti. I live on Halsey Street in Southampton, and I'm a member of the Southampton Association for Beach Access, also known as SABA. I have a letter here from the association that I'll hand up afterwards, but I'd like to kind of read along with it. On behalf of the SABA membership, I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees for working with everyone to address their concerns about beach access. You certainly, you have your work cut out for you. As demonstrated during the previous public meetings, this is clearly an issue that people are very passionate about. People as far back as the 1600s were clearly, thinking about this issue and trying to plan ahead for it. People in East Hampton are dealing with the same thing, and it seems like something that that people in the town and the village have seemed to kind of rally around, and that doesn't happen that often. I think it's a testament to how important this is to people. We truly feel at SABA that our longstanding beach rights are being violated. We hope the board will consider this when imposing regulations. But really, we feel like it's time for the board to stop reacting and take a step back and think about the reasoning and the intent behind the laws that brought this about, behind the Duncan patent and all of the thinking that went behind that. We feel that there were some poor decisions in the past that that helped to create this issue, the county park area being sold, some of the subdivision approvals that, obviously nothing that this board or any current boards stretch back to, but approval of the subdivision at the end of Dune Road, and generally the development of this area, which is quite arguably the most pristine and untouched, or was the most pristine and untouched part of Southampton Village. We'd like to learn from these mistakes and try not to make them again going forward. At the public hearing a few weeks ago, it was announced that a 175 car limit would be imposed. We'd like again, members of SABA, to suggest a 225 vehicle limit, and then 275 on holidays. We would also ask the board that no further access or no further limitations are put in place until the people can have more of a say in the thinking behind it and the reasoning and the logic. And also consider some alternatives. Some alternatives within the village that we've considered would be allowing parking on Meadow Lane on both the north and south sides on the weekend, providing beach buggy shuttle services from Meadow Lane from the parking lot, and perhaps even providing beach buggy shuttle service from several locations around the village. As we mentioned in the prior public hearing, SABA has been working with the Southampton Town Trustees to identify areas east, west, and north of the Shinnecock Canal that can be opened up to provide additional 4x4 access to alleviate some of these concerns, and we're hoping that the village would perhaps do the same within the village. We've thought about areas east of Fowler's Beach and access roads A, B, C, E, and G, which are not currently maintained. We would also like to suggest, to the extent it's possible, that the environmental study be expanded to give a better look at that area as a whole and the impact that all of the development of the houses have had on the environment, so that there can be a better perspective of the impact that some vehicles on the beach for short periods of time would have in relation to these developments and fertilizers and landscaping and all of the things that go along with that. We feel that's really the only rational way to have an accurate understanding of the true environmental impact. We also believe more focus and oversight needs to be placed on landscaping and construction along the waterfront to ensure that same environmental concern. Surely non-native vegetation, fertilizer, tearing into the dunes, driving steel beams, chemically treated wood, etc., are all factors that have much more of an impact than 4x4 access. Additionally, for the sake of transparency, SABA would request that the public hearing remain open and that the board organize a meeting similar to this, but with the Southampton and village and town residents to focus on strategy and tactics of how to deal with these issues as a whole. We'd like to be a part of the process all along the way, dealing with the lawsuit and how these laws are tailored around that. Overall, as responsible citizens, we want to be better educated about the influences behind these decisions and what options we have. Some questions that SABA has considered and would like to ask the board would be if we can clarify what permits would be required for parking at the helipad parking lot. We're wondering if we will, when and if we will hear from the village attorney or whatever council is responding to the claims by the landowners. Really, we want to know what not in a reactionary way, but really what the village's kind of proactive plan is to deal with this and to take measures into our own hands if we can. We're wondering if, like I said, if any additional access would be given to 4x4 in different areas. Would it be possible to buy back the county park? Are there any measures that we can put into place to prevent future lawsuits? Any protections that if there is some sort of a limit on the number of cars, something that we can do to solidify that? So we understand we've presented a lot to you. These are some of the things we've been thinking about. We'd like to be as active as we can with the board, as we have been with the town trustees, to try to kind of organize everyone's thoughts and efforts to come to some sort of conclusion.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie McNamara?
Stephanie McNamara, Noack Road, Southampton. Other than what people have been saying in the past, Susan Brady, Pete Phillips, everybody else that's here, I'm not going to go over all those things again. They've kind of put into words what I would have said had I written it down. The only other comment that I have at this point is I'm wondering how clearly the village has thought about the impact on all of us if you take away our driving rights on the beach, and where exactly is it that we are going to be able to go to the beach? Because if you look at every other town and village beach in Southampton on a Sunday afternoon, there's no room. We cannot get in there. Even if we chose to drive down and get a place and carry our stuff over the beach, there's no place to go. So having said that, if you're going to limit the 175 or take off the 2, whatever the number is that it's going to end up being, you need to think about what beach we're going to be able to go to. So that may involve opening up, as was mentioned last week, roads A and B and C and E, providing parking at all of those areas, and possibly also providing parking on both sides of Dune Road. So, this is something that you need to think about. You can't just tell us that we can no longer go to the beach, because now there's no place for us to go, because every other beach in the town and the village are completely full with out-of-town people on the weekends. So please take that into consideration as well. You're really basically saying not only can you not drive on the beach, you're telling us now we can't go to the beach at all, because it's a numbers game, and that's going to be the bottom line effect if you don't let us go on the beach anymore. Thank you.
Jim McLaughlin?
Thanks for having us down here tonight. Jim McLaughlin. My office is at 789 Hill Street. I live at 58 Little Neck Road in Southampton. One of the things going on here, the Dongan patent was established in 1686. It predates our Constitution in this country, and it is one of the things that establishes land ownership in the town of Southampton, because before that, every acre, every piece of land belonged to the King of England. And when he granted the land to the proprietors of Southampton for the distribution to the people in this community, one of the things that was provided is that we would always, as citizens in this community, have access to the beach to come and go, pass and repass as we saw fit. Now, in 1985, we were allowed to go from Holsey Neck Lane all the way down to the inlet. That was our area of operation for four-wheel drive access. I remember that because I was, a 16, 17-year-old kid. I used to do that after school. I didn't have to wait until 6 o'clock. And then it changed. We went from Road D to the county park. The area that we had was halved. Why? Well, they were under the time, there weren't as many people using the beach. So they said, don't worry, there'll be plenty of beach for everybody. We're going to move it from D to the county park. And then in the mid-90s, again, it was reduced by half to Road F to the county park, under the guise that there would be plenty of beach for everyone. And now, apparently, there is not. We've been suffering political compromise for 30 years on this issue. And one of the things that's going on here is, this is the reason we live here. I don't live here to work every day. I live here so I can go down to the beach at the end of the day and go fishing when and where I want. If the fish are on the beach at noon, I want to be able to go down at noon. I don't want somebody telling me, hey, you can't go there, there's too many people already on the beach. That's not the way this was ever established to work. And the compromises that have been made, the only people that have been compromised are the members of this community who view this resource as the reason we are here. Now, I haven't also heard any statements from the chief of the village police department speaking to the volume of citations for illegal parking, for public intoxication, for urinating and defecating in the dunes, all of things we have been accused of. And before you can pass any resolution, everything, unless it is documented in a police report, either taken or a citation filed or a conviction, it's all hearsay. And this whole meeting is preemptive based on a threat. And it's wrong. That's not the way this is supposed to work. You know, if the police has a stack a foot tall of citations that have been issued out there, well, then I can say, you know what, we've got some bad apples down there, and issuing citations and removing people and relieving them of their permits is the way to affect that. But punishing the rest of this community for a couple of bad apples, if in fact they exist, that's not right. That's not how we do things, and we're being compromised here. This year it's you want to do 175. You know, this has been an addiction with the homeowners down there. In '85, it was from Halsey Neck to the county park. And somebody raised a red flag and the board voted and diminished the area. And in the mid-'90s, somebody raised another red flag and they did it again and halved it again. And now, because there's nowhere left to go, now you're settling on, let's control the numbers down there. If we can just diminish this enough, you know, 5, 10 years from now, somebody's going to raise the red flag again, and what's the new number going to be? 100? We're suffering this because of a lack of political foresight. You know, nobody ever figured back in '85 when they reduced the area that the people that go down there every weekend grow up. Guess what? They have children. Their children stay here, work here, live here, and want to do the same things with their children. And that's what happens. That's what's happening. We have 3 generations of beachgoers down there, and yeah, now apparently there isn't enough beach for everybody. So who's going to take the hit? We are. You know, I've been living in this town since I was 5 years old. I have yet to go to Cooper's Beach. Yet, ever in my life, never been there, never parked in that lot, and never will. I go to the picnic area, I drive on the beach when I go, and that's the only way I want to go. If you take that away from me, there's nothing here in this community for us. For me, it's not worth it. You know, you got to make a stand.
Franny.
That was hard to follow, I tell you that. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. That was awesome. Thank you, board members, Mayor. Thank you for all your work. I know it's a hard decision that you got to make and what you got to do. But I want to know, is it just one landowner that's on this lawsuit, or is it all 9 houses? Because all I can hear is the 9 houses. Every meeting comes, there's 9 houses that we're affecting. Are all 9 houses on that lawsuit against us?
There's 2 lawsuits.
2 lawsuits.
Yes.
Are they just from one?
There are 2 lawsuits
Are they from one?
from 9 houses.
From 9 houses? They're all from the 9 houses.
No. I have 1 lawsuit from 1 house.
That's it.
one lawsuit from 8 houses.
One lawsuit from me. Wonderful.
The one that has the
Has
multiple
anybody,
houses.
has
the one-
anybody done a survey of the property? Because if you look on the tax maps, it shows how many linear feet from the road, from Dune Road to the dunes that they own. Has anybody done a survey to see how far much they own to the dune? Anybody do a
Down
survey?
to the high water mark.
Well, on the tax map, if you look at a tax map, it shows you how many feet.
This is the mean high water mark.
Well,
It changes.
Changes.
Well, it doesn't say a high water mark there.
Yes, it
It
does.
says how many feet. If you look at how many square feet, like my piece of property, I own 3/4 of an acre. I mean, it's
If you
3/4
look
of an
at the
acre.
tax map, if you're gonna look at the village tax map, it's, has a mean high water mark, MHW.
And what does that mean, high water mark mean? Is that from a hurricane swell? Is it from the
It's
full moon
established by
swell?
it's established by the federal government.
So have you gone to the federal government and find out what that mean high tide water mark is?
It changes.
Yes, well, I mean, it changes all the time.
It's actually sizable. You don't want to hear that, but it's sizable. It's
Yeah.
not from the road to the dune. It's from the road to really most of the beach.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't want to hear that, but that is what it is. If you look at their surveys.
Well, the high tide mark from the ocean to the
You
dune.
look at their surveys, it includes a good portion of the beach.
Okay, because if anybody was down there, actually Jim Williams and myself were down there last weekend, and the seaweed line, the debris line was up at the toe of the
Doesn't
dune.
matter. That's not what it is.
So what that's, I mean, there's some days I go down and I drive down on Road F, and I can't even drive onto the beach because the water is up at the top of at the road there. So what is that considered? Is that's not considered the mean high tide mark? I mean,
No.
no.
It's a mean high water mark.
So have you talked to the federal government on asking them what's the mean high tide mark is for this year or anything? Has anybody done?
There's charts, they update them,
You
you
get
know, it changes. It changes, I'm not sure how frequently, but it changes.
And
I
another,
I mean, I understand what you're talking about, they own, but the
that's what I'm trying to
survey- the
establish. Is
surveys-
what is the high tide
the-
mark?
the-
What's the mean high water mark?
it
And
changes,
that's what, you
it
know.
changes.
So we don't know exactly where the mean high tide mark is.
Yeah.
Totally different beach property. And actually on the bay side of Meadow Lane, on the bay side of Meadow Lane, a lot of those surveys could list the property as an acre, and a good percentage, about half of it, is underwater. But it
Exactly.
still
That's
is
why
written-
the
it
gentleman
still is
next to
written-
the helicopter pad has a 6-foot wall, and the first floor is at that 6-foot level.
Well, that's
Right?
not, no, that's a FEMA zone, is what that is. That has nothing to do with property lines. That's
Well,
purely-
I don't know, I don't understand why he would build a 6-foot wall and raise his house that high if he's not
That's-
afraid of the water coming. The water table's
Yeah,
gotta
but
be.
you're talking about two separate things. You're talking about the base floodplain area and where you're dealing with.
Exactly.
And that's
Floodplain,
established by,
whatever.
that's established by FEMA, and then that's when they tell you where you can start the building at. So that has nothing to do with where the property line is and what the mean high water mark is.
Okay, well, it shows from the road to the crest of the dune.
Yeah, but if you look at no, it doesn't. What it says is, it has mean high water mark, and it's listed down as a note on the tax map. So if you look at the tax map and you try to establish what that line is, the line's the mean high water mark. That's what it is, and it changes.
All right. All right. I got a few comments too, to maybe the homeowners down there. A few years ago, I was going down to surf down at the helicopter pad there, and giant hurricane swell, and I got to Road D, and there was I think it was Don Mahoney out in the middle of the road. Said, Fran, you might want to go and see if you can help. There's somebody drowning. So I said, where is it? He said, it's to the east of Road D somewhere. So I drove on the beach during the middle of the day, as far as I could to where I saw the fire department, police department, down in front of the house, and I couldn't drive all the way down because the water was coming up against the dune. So I ran as far as I could from my truck. Well, I drove as far as I could before I had to run all the way down. And 3 of the lifeguards from Cooper's Beach had a gentleman in the water. And I got down there and they were screaming, "Fran, help us." And I've done a little lifeguarding myself there at Flying Point, and I kind of knew what to do. There was a rope attached to them that was dragging in the water. I ran into the water, and I timed it just right with the guys. I said, "I'm going to go on this wave, drag you in," put the rope over my shoulder, ran up the beach as far as I could until I felt the weight, dropped to my knees. The rope burned my hands, my neck. Got the gentleman out of the water with the 3 lifeguards. The 3 lifeguards came up to me and said, "Fran, thank you." He said, "If you didn't show up one more wave and we were letting this guy go." I mean, he was one of the homeowners down on the beach that lived there. So I think we're a natural, resource for these people. If we weren't there, maybe he wouldn't be here today. I mean, we got him out of the water, he was blue. I mean, the ambulance guys resuscitated him, he was blue, he was done. And they brought him back to life. I mean, we are a natural resource to you people down there that live there on the beach. So there are some good apples and there's some bad apples. So you have to deal with us, for our bad apples, and there's some really good apples. So you're not going to cut that apple tree down just to get rid of the bad apples. Our community is like an apple tree. You got your good apples and you got your bad apples. Don't cut our tree down.
Jim?
Good evening. Jim Williams, number 100 Big Fresh Pond Road. Thank you once again for keeping the meeting open. Thanks for listening to us vent again. It's important. Okay, I'm a member of the board of directors of both SABA and the Hampton Surf Fishing Club. And Rob stated SABA's position perfectly well. Thank you. And as a director of the Hampton Surf Fishing Club, I'm here to convey a message from our members to Mayor Epley and the village trustees. Our membership is adamantly opposed to any change in the village code that would restrict 4x4 access in any fashion to the helipad beach. We're good stewards of the beach, members of the community, business owners, volunteers, first responders. Being shut out of utilizing our beach if the arbitrary number of 175 vehicles is reached is unacceptable. We have some older members, and their physical condition makes it impossible to walk on. So driving onto the beach is the only way they can utilize this beach, a beach they have enjoyed for decades. And that's a thank you from our membership there. Okay, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for either of the other organizations. There's an easy way to decrease some of the vehicular traffic at the helipad beach. Those of us who surf call it stovies. You can enforce the village ordinance that prohibits commercial activity on the beach. The Ariskogs have employed surf instructors 7 days a week in season, weather permitting, ostensibly giving private lessons to their friends and family. Anyone who has spent any time there at Stovies knows that this is just not true. The instructors pick up paying customers at the helipad parking lot, traverse the beach to the Ariskog property where they give some onshore lessons. Then they walk down to wherever the waves happen to be breaking, proceed into the ocean, push their paying customers into waves for 45 minutes or so, walk back to the Ariskogs, load them up, drive them back to the helipad, and pick up the next load of people. If they don't have lessons right then, they will next hour or so. Time after time, day after day, this happens. The village has issued a permit for surf school to operate Monday through Friday from 8 until 12 at a predetermined location. No permit has been issued for private lessons. So I ask you folks to consider closing this loophole. Obviously, the plaintiffs don't want trucks in front of their homes, and I'm sure they'll wholeheartedly support you if you shut that. Thank you very much.
That's everybody who's signed up. Anyone else would like to speak? If you want to, start a line over here.
My name's Phil Gay. I live in Watermill. And I haven't really thought about what I'm going to say, but it'll probably be a good story about my dog, and, you know, I'll make something up that make it roll. But the whole thing about this whole situation is about money, let's face it. They got it, they can spend it, they can harass us, they can harass the board, they can push and get what they want and try to get what they want. And it's sad what's happened out here. My family's been out here since the 1600s. My grandfather was a village resident. You know, the changes that have happened out here is immense, what we have to put up with as hard-working people out here. The traffic. I mean, to get to my house from my restaurant, I have to drive through North Sea to get there. It's insanity. But we put up with that. We work here because there's rewards here. There's things we can do here that you can't do in a lot of places. You can drive on the beach here with your family, take a barbecue down. You can swim. You could teach a little dog how to swim maybe, or you know, play Frisbee or whatever you want to do. And this mean high tide mark that people are talking about, somebody Googled it. That's a great thing about what happens today. You know, everybody's got a Google way to, so the mean high tide, what I read was the average high tide. It doesn't mean like in a storm tide. It doesn't mean like you sit down on the beach down there at, you know, Gary Mack's Way, and you look out there and you're right up by the water, and it washes maybe just over the crest. And then other days, maybe it washes a little bit further. And then there's a storm and an east wind, and maybe it washes almost up to the dune, you know, because that's what happens. Maybe on a new moon, it gets pushed higher up the beach than it does when there's not a new moon or a full moon, whatever. You know, the highest tide is usually new moon. Ed knows that. Where's Ed? You know that, Ed, right? Ed's nautical. Now, Ed knows about a lot of things to do with the water. I know a fair amount. He knows probably more than I do. But the bottom line, what it all comes down to is we can't, like Stephanie said, we can't get down. I have to work on Sundays till 1 o'clock a lot of times. I can't get to the beach unless I go at that time. You know, it's my day off. I work a lot in the summer so I can survive out here and do what I do. The whole thing about what bothers me is I've worked for a lot of these people. And I'm going to be redundant because I said this at the first time. I asked these people that own $30 and $40 million houses, it must be beautiful living here and waking up in the morning and taking a walk on the beach. They tell me, I don't walk on the beach. I hate sand in my shoes. I said, well, you take a swim in the ocean, don't you? No, I never swim in the ocean. It's like, you know, I'll swim in the pool. And you know what it's all about, really? It's about ego with a lot of the people. And I'm probably going to lose a few customers on this, but it's basically about who's got the bigger house, who's got the bigger pool, how much they paid for it. I hear it when I'm working for these people. I hear it. And now they're trying to push down our rights so that they can sit at the next cocktail party and say their house is worth another $10 million because there's no trucks going down the beach anymore, right? You guys all know that, right? And what a shame it is to be living here. I love what Jim said. Jim covered a lot of bases. Wonderful talk that you gave. And your voice sounds just like your father. I was closing my eyes and going, holy shit. But the bottom line is here, there's so few things our whole lifestyle is getting narrower and narrower. And they come here and they want to establish a different way of life. And I don't understand it, because the thing that was attractive here was the heritage out here, the history out here. You know, Chuggamug's talking about the museum. I've been at that museum in Amagansett. There's some old things there, some wonderful things about, you know, days of the, you know, in the 1800s and the whaling and the this and the that. It's fascinating. Now those people, some of them maybe came here for that in the beginning. And then it started to change. And some people still like to hear history, and they ask me questions when I'm working for them at their estate or on the beach or whatever, and they ask me questions, but a lot of them really don't care, let's face it. They don't care what happened out here 100 years ago. They don't care what happened. All they want to do is impress the next group of people of what they have. Yeah! You know, and it's a damn shame what's happening out here. It really is. And it's going to push more and more people away from here that are really the local people that lived here for years. And you watch your kids grow up, you know, or your father tells you stories about what they used to do. My father used to shoot ducks next to the Meadow Club. Now, I don't know if it was legal or not, but, you know, it was a long time ago. But the thing that was crazy is, you know, my grandfather lived in a house down on First Neck Lane. He had a lot of money. What the hell happened to it, I have no idea. But he had a lot of money. And they had cows, they had chickens, they had pigs there on First Neck Lane. Now, if you had chickens and cows and horses on First Neck Lane today, I'm sure these guys would hear about it, right? So just look at what used to be and what's happened today, you know? This mean high tide mark, let me tell you, if they're paying taxes all the way down to that mean high tide mark, they would have sod down there and sprinklers, trust me, they would. I go back to, on those comfortable times when you drive down there. My brother talked about it. When you're driving down to the beach on a Sunday, you can breathe, you know? You exhale, you can breathe, you can feel the air, you can smell the air. You know, it's relaxing. You know, you say, oh wow, you're free. You're free from the insanity that you have to put up with to live here. Now, we all have to survive. I make money off these people. If they weren't here, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably find something else to do, but the bottom line is that beach is a jewel. You know, that whole area down there cannot be taken away from us. That cannot happen. It cannot. Thank you.
Evan, just watch your language, man.
54 Baby
Okay.
Road in Southampton. You know, I was running late after work, and I went home, took a shower. I'm a mason. I was covered in concrete, whatever, you know. And I was looking for a clean shirt to find, and I grabbed this white thing, and I threw it on, and I said, this is fitting, because it says 1640 on it, Southampton, okay? Now, that's around when they made the Donegan patent, I'm sure. That's when they came here. My grandparents were Hildreths. My mother was a Hildreth, the Hildreth department store, the oldest store in the country. You know, and I got to tell you, you know, the whole thing, you know, has changed. You know, it's all changed, and we've all put up with it, and we've all, some of us have been a part of it. Yeah, I'm a bricklayer, and I probably built a couple patios here and there, wherever I got hired, you know, but actually not down there. Honestly, but other places. But, you know, long story short, I was on the phone with my daughter, okay? And I'm going to try to keep my language out of it because I didn't do too well last time. You know, I was on the phone with Olivia, and she told me, she said, how is that meeting going? She goes, I would love to go. I'm the captain of the debate team in her school. And let me tell you, if I get her in here, you all got problems. Because she will Google, she's already Googling and researching, and the litany of stuff that this kid can consume in 10 minutes off a computer. I'm old school, and you can't even talk. The kid's giving me so much information, and my head felt like it was going to explode in 5 minutes. But, and just about this topic, you know. And they're in Florida most of the year. But you know what? They come to see their dad 2 months a year, I get. That's it. I had a shitty divorce lawyer. That's another story. But 2 months a year, I get my daughters. And you know what they love to do? All I want to do is go surfing at that beach and eat some lobster rolls with their Uncle Philip and play with the dog and walk around with Don Oliver's kids because those are their friends. And you know what? And Don Oliver's daughters introduce them to some other girlfriends, and they're in their teens now, 16 and 14. Very important age for my kids to meet everybody. Down at that beach, that's what that is. You can walk 100 yards in any direction, and somebody will say, "Oh, you're Evan's daughter. Oh, well, come over here. Have a hot dog. Meet so-and-so. This is Christina. This is this. This is what this beach is about. It's about the families. And it's about all of us. You know, I can't walk 100 yards in any direction without somebody offering me a bottle of water. Hey, come up here. How was the fishing the other night? Whatever. How's your brother's business? I went to Flying Point the other night, and he was catering one on the beach, and we talked, and, it's just like the day off spot. Call it that. It's like where we can all go and go, at least for 4 hours a freaking week, that we can walk past, and I've seen you there, Mayor, 100 times last summer with your family doing exactly what I'm talking about. You and your group of friends, your wife, and your children, and they're grown, and I see, them throwing footballs. The one kid you got there is a football star and whatnot, and he's throwing the football like, Roger Staubach down the beach. But you know what? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about throwing football to your brother. It's about, letting your daughters surf together and make new friends, and that's what that place has become, and and has been, and I don't want to tell them, we're not allowed down there anymore, because I'm going to tell you what I believe. I've been to jail, and I don't care, okay? It doesn't bother me that much. I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I mean. Now let me tell you something. If I have to go down there with my friends, and there's 300 of us on the beach, I ask the cops, what are you going to do? Are you going to bring all of us to jail with 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, kids in diapers? You're going to put us all in a military bus down there, like the ones they bring you upstate with from the jail, with the wire on the cages on the windows? Is that what they're going to do? They're going to drive down there and pack us all up? And bring us where? That's what I want to know. Bring us where? Because you know what? The next week we'll be down there again.
Good evening, Mayor Eckley, members of the board, members of the community. You guys are a hard act to follow, you gays. My name is Ann Welker. I wasn't born in Southampton Hospital, so I may not be considered a true local by some, but I have lived in Southampton most of my life, first in Tuckahoe and now in North Sea. I struggled a bit with stepping up to speak here this evening. I feel a bit late to the dance, woefully informed about many of the details, much of the legal procedure in this situation, but I wish to make a contribution nonetheless. I'm not here this evening to speak in favor of driving on the beach, but so much. In fact, I rarely drive on the beach anymore. I'm rather conflicted about it. My dad, a former professor of marine ecology at Southampton College, would be appalled if he knew how much I had driven on the beach once upon a time. But therefore, I stand before you in an unusual situation. Having spoken with many members of the community over the past several months, I know that I'm not alone in this situation. For although I do not wish to drive into the picnic area myself, I wish to protect the rights, the public access for those who wish to do so. It puzzles me how 1 or 9 residences with several homeowners named on a lawsuit feel that they have rights over literally thousands of beachgoers to whom this picnic area is a way of life. According to the Southampton Press, the village clerk sells over 2,000 four-wheel drive permits each year. There are few who enter the picnic area on most days alone in their vehicles. For most, this is a family day, a special occasion, whether to fish, surf, swim, or just sit and enjoy our fabulous salt air. As can be seen from the attendance tonight at this meeting and from the 2 previous meetings, there are many who feel strongly about vehicular access to the ocean beaches. It is troublesome that the presence of those wishing to enjoy the same privileges as the homeowners in this suit are termed nuisances. These people are the heart of this community, the heart and soul of this community. While they may not be the billionaire oceanfront homeowners or the hedge fund managers or others of means who frequent this place, they're the teachers, the electricians, the plumbers, the builders, the shopkeepers, and the local business owners, and most importantly, the volunteer fire department members and volunteer emergency personnel. These are the people who are here. These are the people who are here day in and day out, year after year, in some cases for generations. These are not the people who buy into this community and then try and change the things that they do not care for. Is my contribution this evening a fact-filled presentation? No. But it is an impassioned plea from the heart to our elected officials to stand up to those who in some ways have more than us, to stand up for those who cannot or will not speak for themselves. The Nature Conservancy slogan is "Save what's left." I implore you, save what's left. Thank you so much for your time and attention this evening. I wish you a good night.
Anyone else would like to speak?
I'm just curious, Dave Reiner, Trees Lane. Years ago, I think it was under Dick Spooner's administration, those beach accesses in the village, he put these, I guess you call them railroad ties, over the dunes to protect the dunes from the access. I don't know what the results of that is or what would happen to that plan. I thought it worked, but maybe Ed would know more or whatever. But there was a situation when Dick had put all the access roads, and they lasted forever. I think there's some still there. Maybe that's an alternative.
Thanks. Anyone else? Yeah.
Board members, Mayor. Sorry to drag this out. I had no intention of speaking, but something came to mind. I'd like to bring it up. And 2 meetings ago. I had no intention of speaking, and I was a little bit heated, so I apologize for that. But it's an emotional touch point. It's an important issue. What I want to bring to light is, my daughter lives in Boston, so I go up to visit her, and most everyone knows. I'm curious if everyone would agree. I would claim to have possibly the most beach time of anyone in this community. And I might be right about that, but everybody loves and values the beach as much as I do. But when I go to Boston to see my daughter, naturally as a surfer, I go out to the shore. And I just love exploring different beautiful places. None quite as beautiful as here. They're extraordinarily beautiful, except for one issue, and that is 75% of the beach in Massachusetts is privatized. And I can be arrested for walking on the rocks above the rack line. And when I found that out, I was stunned, disappointed, especially in the home of the, not the Tea Party, Trump style, but the Tea Party that established this country about rights and freedoms. So with that said, I just want to remind the board that, and I'm not sure of the time frame, don't fact check me on this or fact check me and correct me, but it was about 8 years ago, and this is the town, not the village, where a homeowner put boulders up on a trustee road for access to the beach in Sagaponack, Bridgehampton, Sagaponack, which was illegal at the time. But he had the resources to fight that. And he won because his pockets were deeper than all of the issues you've got to struggle with and where you have to place your resources. He won, and essentially he privatized the public access to that beach. So it's one of the first steps on our way to Massachusetts, the home of freedom and liberty, towards losing our rights here as freeholders, landowners who own property and pay taxes. That the Donegan patent guaranteed all freeholders access to resources, sand, fish, deer, seaweed, thank you, resources, the resources on the beach. And we're on a slippery slope to head to that 75% privatization and loss of our rights as freeholders. Please take that into account when you make your decision.
I don't know if I'd follow up with what happened.
Jim McLaughlin again. There's been a little bit of talk tonight about the mean high water mark, where it is, where the property boundaries are. For all intents and purposes in this discussion, that is absolutely irrelevant, because every property along the ocean beach in Southampton town, village, all the villages are encumbered and always have been by the easement created in the Dongan patent, which is from the crest of the dune to the water. So if a homeowner owns 100 feet out into the Atlantic Ocean, we still have the right to pass and repass. The property boundaries are irrelevant. Ownership is irrelevant. Every property is encumbered by the Dongan patent easement, which gives us rights to access. That's all. Thank you.
Fran Adams Teske again. So I forgot to mention, I was invited to a surf riders meeting the other night, and they were looking at our issue here, and they said that they might be willing to send lawyers to help you if you need lawyers to help you. They will want to look into your lawsuit to see what their issues are. And if they can help in any way, the Surf Riders Foundation said that they will send lawyers to help. So just to put that out to you.
Ed?
Evening, everybody. Evening, Mark. My name's Ed Warner. I got a little bit of history out here. My family's been here for only 5 generations. But, you know, as a kid growing up on Shinnecock Bay and respecting and learning about the environment from my father, my grandfather, and seeing all the local people cherish what we have out here, and see all the people that come out here and they want to move out here because of what we have. They want to get enriched by what we have here, what we cherish. And as soon as they move out here, they want to put sidewalks up. They want to put parks up. You know, they want to change what we have. And my biggest fear is, beach driving. I've done quite a bit of it. I've never been at the picnic area in my life, but I do respect everybody here, and I do want them to cherish what they have. But I also want to make a point that, going forward, if we lose this beach for beach driving, what is next? We do have a trustee easement. It's 26 miles of the Barrier Beach. We're allowed to have, beach blankets on it. We're allowed to fish. We're allowed to surf. We're allowed to do everything on there. But as we get our regulatory authority eroded by the courts, loss of regulatory authority within the villages, and a comment that was made by Phil Gay, and why is there no sod up to the high water mark on the Barrier Beach? Because the trustees have been managing the beaches for 375 years. And we fought hard to keep hardening structures off the beach. We fought hard to keep bulkheads to the minimal standards. And when we lost our court case, we lost our regulatory authority on the village beaches. We still have them on the town beaches. We still have them on the beaches that we own. But it really hurts me because I see a lot of this, going forward. Where is it going to stop? And it's going to hurt us all. Someday we might not be able to drive on the beach. Well, what's the next thing? We're not going to be able to put a beach blanket on our beach? And I think that it's time that the locals unite. The village trustees, the town trustees, sit down and formulate a game plan. We're both in this lawsuit together, and it's something that, united, we're much stronger than we're divided. So that's what I want to say.
Next, Donna.
I'm Donna Kremborg, lifelong resident of Southampton. I absolutely did not prepare to speak tonight, so I just want to gather my thoughts. I've been a volunteer EMT, past chief, past chairman of the board. I've been volunteering for over 11 years for both the town ambulance and the village. And let me tell you, that is the only time of the week where I get to go down with my family and fellow volunteers and enjoy my time. My pager's still on, but for that chunk of time, I have a place to call my own. My kids enjoy it because I don't have to run off. Please just don't let them take that away from our little volunteers.
Anyone else?
Christine Sullivan Whitaker, and I wasn't going to say anything, but all I was going to say is I remember as a child, Michael and the Gays, they probably don't remember me, but, and I grew up in the estate section on First Neck Lane. I rode a Connemara pony to the beach, down by Lake Agawam, and we're all aware that times change, but it just seems that someone's got to rein in the changing the total culture of this village. I've been here 17 years year-round. And I don't know the legal part of it, except I do understand the Donegan patent. And I just think it's a moment to really vote for the locals. Thank you.
anyone else who'd like to speak? No? Okay. Heard a lot of good information over the last 3 meetings, and we don't have the environmental impact study completed at this point in time, but I'd like to close the meeting, the public hearing here, and keep it open for written comment until the next meeting, and then hopefully we'll have the environmental impact study done and be able to present that. So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Can I just say?
Yep. Sure.
I reserve the right to say anything, because I really, I believe in a process of the public hearing. It's so the public speaks and we hear and everybody else. So I really wanted to, I want to thank everybody who has shown up repeatedly. A lot of the same faces, a couple new here and there, but there's many topics that we discuss. Many of us on this board have been members for several years, and some a couple different terms, with this, like Bill, separating a couple of decades. We've all had matters in front of us. And I will say unequivocally, for 3 public hearings, I can't remember ever seeing a room filled like this to near capacity, 3 times in a row. We continue hearings on topics in the past, and usually each meeting it lessens. Interest dies off. The fact that you are all here and continuing dialogues privately with all of us on the street and so forth, and dinners and cocktail parties and so forth, says a lot. To me personally, it's not, and the board member I can say, it's not falling on deaf ears. I personally, I wrestle with this topic, this subject matter. Being a local, I mean, I think that gets sometimes used a little too liberally and sometimes not, but it does mean something. And I am one, born in a hospital. Tonight's comments, I will admit from this group, got more business-like, fact-based, and that's good. Jim, Lachlan, nice stuff, I must say. And everybody, definitely. Because again, I myself am not a regular down at the picnic area, I'll admit. I haven't been there a lot when I was younger, but I do like the ability to drive on the beach. I do have a truck. So, as has been said, it's about protecting those rights. That's what I firmly believe in. Because as Ed Warner and others pointed out, where does it stop? So the one thing that's bothered me about this entire discussion in the beginning, and unfortunately East Hampton is running into the same matter. It's verbatim. And theirs actually is in the court of law right now. So obviously we're all paying very keen attention to that as to how it's going to play out. But that's unfortunate because what's happening there and what's happening here, as evidenced by the residents in this room for the past 3 meetings, I didn't want to really think it was a battle between the haves and the have-nots. I try not to really draw those lines in the sand, pardon the pun. But it has clearly become that in East Hampton and here.
Absolutely.
And as a representative of this community, I represent all the members of this community. And that means the haves and the have-nots. But again, I got to think with my heart on this one. And again, I assure all of you in this room, we've all spent a lot of time on this and will continue to. And it is about teamwork, working with the town trustees and the town board. I will tell you, because of all this happening, the mayor and I and board members, we've had discussions in the past with town trustees, different members in the past, different town board members. I can personally attest to a few conversations the mayor and I had with a couple of past, not current, town trustees. They weren't very beneficial meetings. They didn't go anywhere. So I can assure you that those meetings we have with these members now are much different. and they bear a lot more fruit, evidenced by the draw here. And Bill Pell did, by the way, walk in after. I want to recognize that as well. He walked in after we started. So the fact that they're here, again, I think shows everybody that they're willing to work with us, this board, and we're all aware of the challenges here. And again, I firmly believe in protecting the access to the beach. Ms. Welker said it very well. Whether you want to do it yourself is almost irrelevant. You just want to protect the access, the right for somebody to. And I want to do that too. And I assure you, members of this board, we're all in this together and finding that balance. And I appreciate, when I go home to these meetings, my wife asks me, how were they? Meaning the crowd, if you will. And I want to thank you. You've been very respectful. You've been very appreciative of the circumstance we're in, because it's not an easy one to be in, let's face it. So I want to thank all of you for respecting our dilemma. It's not an easy one, but that's why we're here. That's why we make the big bucks to do this. So I thank you for your input. It's all been heard and will be used and digested very wisely by this board and the town board. And for 3 times, each time filling this room, I want to thank you all for showing up. So thank you.
Anyone else want to say anything? Bill?
Just wanted to share a thought with you. First of all, I do think our mayor, while he's built like a middle linebacker, he really is a great quarterback. And I hope you appreciate what he is trying to do on your behalf. One other thought, of course, just seeing these meetings in the last few weeks, that if it's possible, Mark, if this does come to a court case, to have it tried somewhere nearby, preferably not in June to August, and maybe we could encourage these same people to show a judge just how much this means to the people of this village, and I think it would have an impact. Otherwise, it's awfully easy to just say the hell with it and you're out of here, and it's all over. So if it's possible to get a venue that's nearby and at a time when it's we're all able to go there, it would be really great if Mr. Adam Chesky and some of our other superstars could speak up and let them know what's going on. Thank you.
What a passionate community. You guys are all terrific. It's you that makes us serve here and support you. 2 real important things, I think, is one, there's been a lot of discussion on equal rights. Certainly our forefathers foresaw issues of equal rights, because if you read the Donegan patent, it really is protecting equal rights more than anything. And then you look at the setup of the town, you have town trustees. They're here to protect equal rights. And all of us at the board here, trustees and mayor, we're all very supportive of the community, and I just want to let you know we're going to do everything we can to help you.
It's been noted by Evan, I go down there. So this is very important to me. It's very important to my family and my friends who are out here. So I thank you guys for coming out here tonight and over the last 3 meetings. We've got to do a lot of soul searching in the next little bit of time to figure out how my goal is to close tonight, get the environmental impact study, look at that, try to make a decision one way or the other. And I don't know how I'm going to vote. So to be honest with you, so that's how I feel. But,
Can I just throw out a couple of comments from a legal perspective without going into any detail?
Okay.
Because I want to be sure that the public that's out there doesn't misconstrue what this proposed local law, if adopted, what is the reasoning behind it, etc. The village has been fighting lawsuits down in this area for decades. There was a lawsuit brought somewhere in the 1980s, I believe. I'm going by recollection now.
George Katz. Wackville, Rosen, Lipton.
Down in this same area, the village fought it all the way through, and we won that lawsuit. It wasn't that the village was afraid to spend money on lawyers to try to defend the lawsuit. We defended it, we won. Then a lawsuit by something like 8 of the homeowners was started again. I could be off by a few years. It might be 10 years ago. We tried, we vigorously defended that lawsuit. It's still pending. We vigorously defended. We tried to get it dismissed on the ground that the issues had been determined in favor of the village in the 1988 lawsuit, and there is a rule of law called res judicata that bars subsequent lawsuits involving the same legal issues that have been previously determined. But there's an exception to that rule of law, and the exception is if a plaintiff can show a change in circumstances, then the issues can be relitigated. In this case, we tried to get it dismissed on the ground that it was barred by the prior lawsuit. Issues were raised about a change in circumstances, and we fought that through the Supreme Court and the Appellate Division. It ended up with the Appellate Division throwing out some of the issues, but leaving in some of the issues, saying that a sufficient change of circumstances had been shown to warrant a trial on, and again, determining the issues. So we've already spent a lot of time defending this. That lawsuit by the 8 homeowners is still pending. And then, as the mayor previously mentioned, the lawsuit by the 9th homeowner was commenced earlier this year. And they're all the same kind of lawsuit. So there are serious issues that will be ultimately determined by the courts in these lawsuits. Whatever the Board of Trustees does in relation to this local law, whether they adopt it or do not adopt it, if they decide to adopt it, the reason would be to protect your rights, not to take away your rights. If the board makes a judgment that without some kind of an amendment like this, you could lose everything in a lawsuit, that would be the only reason they would vote in favor of this local law, because they think it would put us in a better position in court. So I want that to be clear. There's nobody on the board that wants to take away any of the public's rights down there. They want to protect the public's rights. And what they have to decide is what is the best way to proceed to protect those rights. And they're doing 2 things. Number 1, considering this local law. Number 2, vigorously pursuing with the town trustees and the town board, and whatever help you, the public, can be with them, to try to get some other areas opened up in the town so that this isn't the only area in the entire town of Southampton. There is little or no doubt that if this is the only area in the entire town of Southampton, that's going to have an impact on the judge when he decides this case. So they are doing things, including considering this local law, to protect your rights, not to take anything away. That's all I wanted to say.
Meeting's still open, because that raised a question.
Okay, we'll keep it open here. may not be able to answer the questions.
Okay, well, the village attorney may be able to.
Okay.
By undertaking this action, I understand that opening up further areas within the town of Southampton would be a prudent thing to do, and it would demonstrate a willingness to relieve the pressure on the properties down at the picnic area. In light of the lawsuit, I think that would go a long way with a judge to swaying them to say that the town and the village are active and proactive in making a solution to this problem without litigation. However, because this lawsuit directly impacts the picnic area, is in fact your willingness to reduce the numbers of the people on there demonstrating to the judge that there is in fact a nuisance and a problem that needs to be addressed? You're telling the judge there is a problem down there because you're addressing it now in public meetings. Unless there's been some negotiation with the Ariscogs and the 8 other homeowners over there that says, if we can get the number down to 175 cars, will you drop your lawsuits? That's serious. I want to know if that discussion took place.
We've had discussions with them about numbers of vehicles on the beach, and we are...
Well, would the
far
lawsuits
apart.
be dropped?
That is something I can't answer. I don't know the answer to that
Well,
question.
that's a serious question, and it needs to be addressed.
Right.
You know, because otherwise we're dealing without all the facts here.
Well,
And
I think
I understand that there
I
needs
would
to be
disagree.
some secrecy here, but I feel like pertinent information is being withheld from us.
I completely disagree with what you're saying.
Absolutely.
The village attorney just explained it, everything. So for you to say that is just, it's not right.
Well,
It's not right.
Also, if I may
It's not
add
right.
something, I believe that when Ms. Strunk spoke,
Yeah.
she indicated that she didn't want any cars on the beach at all.
Okay.
175 was unacceptable to her.
Okay.
It wasn't enough of a reduction, and as far as she was concerned, they were going
No.
for no cars.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're doing here is we're reducing the number to, for what? We're still going to be
Probably a
facing that
compromise.
lawsuit.
Maybe we're trying to compromise. Maybe we're trying to say, this is a local population. They need to have this beach. Let's come to a compromise. If 240 cars on Labor Day weekend you feel is too much, okay, let's have a little compromise here. Maybe that will work, maybe it won't. Maybe we won't do that. Maybe we won't vote for this law. This is why we're having these meetings, so that we can have this discussion.
Okay.
And it's very important, and I'm glad that you got up and said what you said, and everybody
Okay,
else
I'm
here.
just, you know, that's distressing.
Well, I mean, it's still,
Mark,
the whole,
hey, I know you go down there. This is not an indictment of you. You're doing what you got to do.
you know, I'm trying to protect this.
I understand.
In a very selfish manner.
I
you know?
understand.
To be honest
This is not an indictment of you guys. You, for lack of a better word, you got handed a crab sandwich here. But this has been going on for 20 years.
We know.
And, you know, we got to make a stand sooner or later. Otherwise, it's just a rot. It's a slow decay, and sooner or later,
We've been
it's
making
just gone.
stands. As
I
the
know.
village attorney said, we've defended lawsuits vigorously in
Well,
the courts.
one thing I would ask is, can we hold open for public comment when the environmental study gets in? So we may have a chance as the public to review that, refute it if necessary, and also have it scientifically looked at?
Getting a nod from the village board, so, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I just want to clarify, you're going to vote on a proposal. Is that 175 is what you're proposing? Because a lot of people are asking to increase it. Is that closed? I mean, because I think...
Well, that's the way the local law is written at this
So that
point.
local law is written, that's in front of you now, proposed local law. So at one point, you're going to vote on that, and that'll become law? So
yes.
what I'm asking is that 175 is the number, we're not changing that, or possibly can
Well,
change it?
again, that's what the proposed law is.
That's what you guys proposed.
That's what we proposed.
So what I'm asking, obviously, is there's no avenue of changing it right now.
Well, we'd have to close this public hearing, vote on it, change, republish another number, and then
Right.
start the whole process over again.
Would you have stuck with that number prior to these meetings? I mean, after these meetings, would you still, I'm confused a little bit because you came up with a number, and then we had the public hearings. So by that point, we've already.
Well, you have to start somewhere.
I understand that, but I mean, I think.
You can't do a public hearing on a law change and say, well, we don't know what the number is.
Yes, I understand that point, but I'm just
No,
saying.
I understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
Is there the ability to change that number to make it higher or lower or whatever?
Right.
I mean, that's a process. We do have that ability. We have that process that we can make that change.
I just feel like the number was decided by the board members, not by the town, by the residents, but so then it was decided by the board members.
Well, in my initial conversation with the Ariscott Thomas family, they were talking about 100 on the beach.
And where did we come up with that number?
Where did they come up with the number of 100?
Or, no, 175. In other words, how many average trucks are there? Did we go with that or anything like that?
No, you looked at linear feet.
Linear
and,
feet? 10 feet per parking space or whatever?
Oh, 10 feet per parking space might be good on a paved municipal lot. It doesn't work down on the beach.
Yeah. All right, from this day forward, the vote could be voted on for 175, that's it.
That's the way the law is written at this point in time, yeah.
But it's not law.
Right. The proposed law, very good, thanks.
So you could change it and then open a new public hearing? You could change it to like 200 maybe and open a new public hearing and start over again?
My name is Chuck Guidos. I have been around quite a while. My father, during the 38 hurricane and after, for 3 years, he might have brought on this problem to some extent. What happened was there were 16 inlets from Halsey Street to the inlet. And there were wash-throughs, and you can see them if you drive down, you can count, and some of them have been widened in the short future or past. And what they are is the bay has sand that came from the beaches and got washed off the Dune Road. The Dune Road was very much narrower than it is today. And the Dune Road properties were down at the end near our big inlet today. That road was maybe 40 to 80 feet wide and varied. Anyway, what I'm saying is the reason that you have a problem, or one of them, is we didn't realize in time to say, since that land has been built up, that would be one parcel, maybe, and then the other parcels would be behind that along the road edge. This could happen again because the beaches are much higher than they were just before the 38 hurricane, and that road is more substantial and is also higher. But with a big storm, you could have a problem again. And we didn't have an inlet there at all. The road went right straight through. And there was a fellow that stopped my father when they were working down there. They had 3 cranes and 3 bulldozers that worked for 3 years. I mean, I heard this a lot of times from him. And what they were doing was putting the sand back in those areas where it was still washing through. And before the 38 hurricane, Shinnecock Bay was rather fresh, a lot of fresh water. So there's been big changes, but I think that we could be looking out for maybe a potential storm that could put us back in business. If those houses, some of them got washed away, I'm not hoping for that, but what I'm saying is things can change on the beach, and then we should jump on that and say,
buy it.
the water line is here. We can take the jetty down. The jetty is what's caused that buildup, by the way. The jetty of the rocks. And that's caused that thing to widen tremendously. So, you know, things are different. There was a guy by the name of Phillips that owned from Road D. From Road D, he owned down to in Quogue. And he came to my father and he said, how much do you think the village would spend on that piece of property? My father said he had no idea. He said, how about that house that you're living in on Hill Street? What is that worth? And at the time it was worth $3,800. He says, if you give it to the board, you tell them that I'll sell it to them for $3,800. And that was a Friday meeting they had, and on Monday he went up to see what he thought would be great news. Wasn't any news like that, though. Everything, he threw everything that he determined in the wastebasket. And he was very much upset. He continued to work for the village for a while, but then when the war came, he went that way. But all I'm saying is those houses could still get damaged, and we should be thinking about how we can save some land for the locals. If you got damage down there, you could put a groin in partway and build between them. Put 10 groins on. You don't need 10. In the village of Southampton, you'd need about 5, and that you would do the job. But we're not waiting for a hurricane, but it's a way out of the problem.
Thanks. Thanks, Sean.
Maybe Phil Gay, you would be in charge of the party after the houses wash away?
All right. Anyone else would like to speak? Okay. All right, Matt.
Good evening, everybody. Matt Palumbo, Southampton, Prior's Path. I didn't want to speak tonight. I get very emotional over this, as you guys have seen in the past. A couple of quick things, though. This is eerily similar to other meetings where it's called a public hearing, but Jim brought it up and Dave brought it up also. I feel like we're going to leave this meeting and then you guys are going to vote on something that's already on paper. And well, it happened once before where we left the meeting, a public hearing, to discuss everything, and then we left and it was overnight. It was put in place. So I just want to make that point now, and hopefully it's not deja vu all over again with this. And I don't know. It's hard to.
You want to?
I'm sorry.
Expand on that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, this whole thing with the 175 and the gate, this is written down as a law, a proposed law. Is that correct or no?
The 175 is.
Okay.
Proposed.
It's a
That does not
proposed
mean
law.
it's a law.
That's the
why we're
public
having
hearing.
this
That's the
meeting.
public hearing right now.
Okay. All right.
So we
well,
didn't close anything. We didn't change the law or anything. This is part of the process.
All right. I just have to add in my statement then that I should have said earlier on the open forum. And I'm sorry, I'm delayed on that motion, but I find it hard to believe that we're all brought to our knees all the time by 9 homeowners down there. And I personally be beyond belief if I saw a gate down there. I think that's just totally unacceptable. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you very much.
Anyone else would like to speak? Okay, so you guys want to leave it leave it open. Okay. So we're going to leave it open for the next meeting. It's June, what's the next date?
21st.
June 21st at 5 o'clock.
Five.
We gotta work. You gotta be kidding me.
Do you want to
Our work sessions are on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, okay? It's the second Tuesday following this. That's where we're at. That will be the work session. So the next hearing that we have is June 21st at 5 o'clock, okay?
It's not intentional. It's just the way it is. It's normally that way.
Yeah, we'll put this at the end of the agenda, okay? All right. Okay. Okay, so if you guys want to stick around and listen to the rest of the resolutions, that's great. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's continue here. Suggested resolutions, Steve.
Okay, item 1, resolve the reading of the latest resolve that the reading of the minutes of the public session of May 24th, 2016, through dispensed with those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator. The actions taken that be hereby ratified and approved. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
There you go. Item 2, resolve the claims for warrants dated June 9th, 2016, for $1,726,725.95. Warrant 1, general fund, $108,212.44. Warrant 2, general fund payables, $187,375.77. Warrant 1, capital reserve fund, village payrolls for the period from May 13th, 2016 to June 9th, 2016, be ordered and approved. Good motion.
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion. Page 1, Admin Computer Services, PD Maintenance Agreement, $20,801. BK Fire Suppression Services for sprinkler inspections for the building, $1,000. Barboy Products, Grease Cooper's Beach, $1,625. 2 payments to Joseph Bernhard and Marjorie Bernhard, Medicare reimburses, $1,169.40. Page 2, Coastal Fire Systems exhaust fans for the fire department, $6,890. Page 3, Eastern Locksmiths, 2 push bar locks for the police department, $1,258. Page 4, Firematic Supply, Scoba bottles, maintenance and supplies, $4,227.95. First Presbyterian Church parking lease payment for June, $3,000. Page 5, Hildreth's benches for the Parks Department, $1,512. Page 6, Winch's Garden Center, plans for SAC, $3,180. Page 7, Patricia Munn, Medicare reimbursement, $1,169.40. Norfolk Design, Cooper's Uniforms, $3,891. New York State Health Insurance for June, $275,307.77. Page 8, Perfect Construction, flags for the building department, $2,380. Perma Workers' Comp payment for June 16 through May of 17, $1,193,849. Primary Art Services, installation of the Toby Heller sculpture, $5,050. Red the Uniform Tailor, PD Holsters, $3,880. Page 9, Rosemar Construction, Heliport Gravel, $95,680, and paving on Jagger Lane, $23,351.60. Page 10, South Shore Fire and Safety, Scott Pax, testing, $2,427.71. Southampton Masonry, Agawam Bricks for around the fountain, $1,286.60. Strategic Safety Dynamics Equipment for the Fire Department, $13,932. State Insurance Fund Disability Payment for the year, $3,623.19. Page 11, Uline Shelves for the Building Inspector down in the basement of Village Hall, $2,119.31. Vehicle Tracking Solutions, GPS, for June, $1,055.56. Velvet Top Products, paint for the Highway Department, $2,707.90. Veripic Software Maintenance Agreement, $3,638. W&G Service, Fire Department AC replacement, $1,360. Accounts Payable Warrant, David Apriano, Fire Department Medical Volunteer Medical Reimbursement, $1,000. Page 3, Cast Production Services for May, $2,423.55. 3, Fire Department Volunteer Medical Reimbursements, Joe Core, $1,000. Samuel Diamond, $1,000. And James Durier, $1,000. Page 5, EMT Governmental Accounting Services for May, $1,096.88. Fink and Carney reporting for the Mike Stewart hearing, $1,235.79. Fire Department reimbursement for Richard Jaminski, $1,000, and Tristan Glanz, $1,000. Page 6, Hampton Truck and Auto, supplies for the garage, $2,123.68. Randall Herring, Fire Department reimbursement, $1,000. Page 7, Johnson Electrical Construction, traffic signal maintenance for May, $1,350. And 3 payments again for Fire Department volunteers, Michael Camp, Robin Camp, and John Condula, each $1,000 apiece. And on page 8, Kenneth Lockhart, $1,000. Lynch's Garden Center, supplies for the Parks Department, $2,531.88. Page 9, James Malone, Fire Department volunteer, $1,000. Messiano Consulting, grant writing services through May 31st, $4,162.50. Morgan Auto Supply, going on to page 10, supplies for the garage, $3,061.45. Norsec and Son, parting for Coopers, $1,155, and the Highway Department, $4,819.73. Page 12, Nugent and Potter, Parks Department supplies, $1,117.11. Page 13, payments to PSE&G for electrical services for the buildings, $2,638.62 and $1,751.29. Traffic lights, $1,055.98. Street lights, $4,508.47. PD, $2,657.39, and the Fire Department, $3,251.43. Dave Rayner on page 14, Fire Department volunteer, $1,000. Repco electrical supplies for the, going up on page 15. For the Building Department, $1,420.96. Riverhead Building supplies for the Building Maintenance Department, $6,923.65. Page 16, Dennis Roy, Fire Department, $1,000. Sadie Levine, the final payment for the 2015 audit, $8,833.34. And Anthony Stevens, Fire Department volunteer, $1,000. And Diego Trujillo on page 17, again, Fire Department volunteer. Capital Reserve warrant. Payment to Aries Design for the ambulance barn, $14,030.25. CC Electronics, the lights for the fire marshal vehicle, $17,847.08. 2 payments to the National Auto Fleet Group for DPW vehicles, $43,107.82 and $39,795.56. Has a contracting payment towards 25 Job's Wall restoration, $38,000. SCC Construction Management Group, $18,500 for the ambulance barn, and Stott Architecture, $16,095.06 for the ambulance barn. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the attached schedule of budget transfers to eliminate overdues for the period ending May 31st, 2016. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second? Second. Discussion. Item 1, $7,000 in trustee special projects, $1,000 into grant writing, and $8,000 coming from highway contractual. Item 2, $1,000 into clerk telephone coming from elections. Item 3, $1,000 into DPW miscellaneous coming from equipment. Item 4, $1,500 into buildings overtime, $1,000 into street lighting supplies, $9,500 into building supplies, with $5,000 coming from buildings contractual and $7,000 from highway contractual. Item 5, $2,000 into garage supplies, $100 into garage clothing, with $2,100 coming from garage contractual. Item 6, $18,000 into police overtime, $24,000 into police contractual, $7,000 into radio operators overtime, with $7,000 coming from radio operators miscellaneous, $15,000 from police miscellaneous, $15,000 from police holiday vacation, and $12,000 from police supplies. Item 7, $11,500 into fire equipment, $1,000 into fire contractual, with $3,500 coming from firewall maintenance, $6,000 from fire supplies, $3,000 from fire utilities. Item 8, $1,600 into safety inspection equipment coming from fire marshal contractuals. Item 9, $3,000 into ambulance equipment, $4,000 into employee benefits ambulance, with $7,000 coming from ambulance miscellaneous. Item 10, $4,500 into park seasonal, $3,000 into park supplies, $1,000 into parks miscellaneous, $2,000 into parks clothing, with $10,500 from highway contractual. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves Sadie Levine Siaco, CPAs PC, 125 Turnpike, Jericho, New York, 11753, as the orders for the village and the Justice Court for the fiscal year ending May 31st, 2016, for a combined fee of $32,750. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the organizational meeting of the Village of Southampton be scheduled for Tuesday, July 5th in the boardroom of Village Hall. The village administrator will administer the oath of office to 2 trustees on the steps of Village Hall, weather permitting, at approximately 4:15. The organizational meeting will commence following the oath of office. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the resignation of Jerry Ferrara from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective June 30th, 2016. Have a motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Just have a letter here informing us at the beginning on July 1st, 2016. We no longer reside in the village, nor will we own any property within the village. So he's presented his letter of resignation. So we will be looking for a replacement on the Zoning Board of Appeals to fulfill the remaining part of Mr. Ferrara's term.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the hiring of the following individuals as lifeguards at Cooper's Beach for the 2016 season at an hourly rate of $13.50. Yuko Marsans, William Taylor Reddick, and Hunter Mangano. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the hiring of the following to operate the Avalon Ferry for the 2016 season. Emmett Daly as captain at $15 an hour and Margaret Gaylord as dockmaster at $10 an hour. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And item 9, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following payments from the Capital Reserve Fund, subject to permissive referendum. CC Electronics, $17,847.08 from the Equipment Reserve. National Auto Fleet Group, $82,903.38 from the Equipment Reserve, and $38,000 to PASA Contracting from the Facilities Reserve. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, discussion items. First one is beach event. Iris Shimmery.
Thank you for waiting.
I'm here for approval for an event on Little Plains Road on August 27th for 125 people. We are catering the event. It's a birthday party for a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Okay.
Ours is son and husband.
All right.
Where is it taking place? Oh, Little
Little
Plains.
Plains.
Okay.
Okay. Any comments or anything like that from the board?
And where do they live? They live at the Little Plains?
They live on Hampton Road, right by Woolley Street there. 179 Hampton Road.
Hampton Road,
Yeah.
okay. Do we have beach parties like this at Little Plains? I never know.
Usually they're all underneath
Have you done
100.
one? Yeah, usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't do a ton at this beach for this size, but her son is severely disabled, and they prefer, since Cooper's isn't an option, and they have, some handicap access there, they prefer Little Plains because it's very close to their house.
Okay. Yeah. Any other comments or
Typically do
questions?
that, but for that reason.
Yeah.
What was this comment?
Any other comments?
No.
No. Okay.
So what's the amount, the number?
It's 125.
125.
Yeah. That's, yeah. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to authorize approve the beach permit on 8/27/2016 and for applicant Iris Shimmery.
Shimoni.
Who's that?
Shimoni.
Shimoni. I apologize for that. Okay.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 2 is traffic study, Cameron Engineering.
We have a proposal for the Village of Southampton Downtown Traffic Analysis from Cameron Engineering. This is a part of the process for the new sewer project. And it's to collect, looking at traffic impact and observe prevailing traffic and parking conditions and physical features in the area, collect and analyze peak hour traffic data during the weekday and on Saturdays, to inventory available parking, perform parking counts and 30-minute intervals throughout the village, and that, prior authorization to provide additional services as required. The cost of this is, let's see, what's the final number on this?
$11,000.
$11,000. $11,000 in reimbursable expenses.
Well, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, this is
Because
good
our
stuff.
parking is totally out of control.
Yeah.
So I think this is really a good thing.
It is a good
And
thing.
since it takes place from Memorial Day through Labor Day, during the weekday from 11 to 2,
Yeah.
and in the PM from 3 to 6, and on Saturday midday from 11 to 2, peak hours. I mean, I think this is really going to tell us something.
Yeah, this is as thorough of a traffic study as we've ever had in a village business district. So it'll be a good stuff summer for that. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize me to sign this agreement with Cameron Engineering dated May 27th, 2016. Reason for the Village of Southampton downtown traffic analysis.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a bike ride application by the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation for September 24th. That is the date of the September Fest, but it does not come into the downtown area.
Yeah, so this is the bike ride that, I tell you, I just have a tough time with anything being done on that weekend. Because it just is,
What is September 24th, that weekend?
that's September Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is. So
Bike ride?
It's a bike ride and actually goes down onto Meadow Lane and Wickapog. And what still there's a portion of this. And I don't have to tell you guys how crowded the village gets, especially on a beautiful day in September during this time frame. I just think
Is it coming through the village? I see
it is
Cobb
coming through.
Road,
It's
I
coming through
see-
the village. Yeah.
We'll have a float here closing that lane in September, just in case that's part of the route.
Okay.
For
Let's
the
see.
paving?
For the culvert.
Oh, for
Yeah,
the
the culvert. Yeah. Let's see here. We've got. Let me read where the part that comes through the village is.
Hubbard's Meeting House, Hubbard. I don't understand.
Yeah, the route they show.
I don't see any very streets.
Well, yeah, they have
Oh,
part
yeah.
on Hill Street, Somerset, McGee Street, Narrow
see that.
Lane. Yeah, no, I just think that, I think this is the wrong weekend for them to do a bike ride through the village of Southampton. So, that's my, I don't know how
So
the
can
rest
they
of the
come
board
back?
feels.
I agree with you.
I agree.
Okay, all right.
Here's Wickapog, Cobb
Yeah.
Road West.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
First
all-
Neck Lane,
It's all busy.
Hill Street.
Yeah, no, it's not a good route for us on that day, so. Okay, we have Arius Designs proposal here. This is existing additional services, existing police station proposed village ambulance center, and it's the revision of the sanitary plan and submission to Suffolk County Department of Health. It's the following is letter proposal for landscape architectural services for the additional services regarding the present Suffolk County Department of Health services issues with the existing police station and proposed village ambulance center. So, Steve, do you want to just brief the board on this real quick?
Yeah, they had made the application to the Department of Health for the new ambulance barn, and during the course of that, it was discovered that there was 2 permits that were not closed out. One was filed over 20-some-odd years ago on the Lola Prentice Park for a bathroom. Obviously, nothing had happened with that. And the second permit was with regard to the construction of the police headquarters. That was also never closed out. So what we have to do is the Lola Prentice is close that out. We have to refile on the police department because that sanitary system has to be certified. And that's, starts the whole process. So this is just in order to work, to prepare those applications and try to walk it through the system as soon as possible, because we cannot go forward with the ambulance barn until these 2 permits are completed.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the letter with the contract areas designs dated June 2nd, 2016, regarding additional services in existing police station, proposed village ambulance center in the village of Southampton.
Second? Second. All in favor?
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, I should have asked it
It's
before.
okay.
Did they give us any indication as to how long this will take?
3 to 6 months.
Okay, we have comments from board members here. Trustee Yaz.
Well, pretty much said what I wanted to say. Just
Yeah.
again, thank everybody for showing up and voicing their concerns. I'm good.
Trustee Irving.
Since our next meeting's what, the 21st? We should remind everybody we have a village election coming up.
Yep.
On Friday the 17th, and you all should get out and vote. It's important that you make a presence. So it's going to be here at the Cultural Center, I believe. So we hope to see you here.
Open from when to when?
12 to 9.
12 to
12 to 9.
Trustee McGinn.
I
Have to lean to the microphone.
Oh, I have to lean into the microphone. I didn't actually say anything before because I think I was a little nervous about saying anything because we have a court stenographer here. It's a very tough topic. As a child growing up here, I went down to the county park before it was the county park. We used to drive down Meadow Lane when you could barely drive down Meadow Lane. I mean, there were such potholes that, and filled with water, you thought you were going to lose your car in it. And people always said, "Oh, you can never fix this road because it's below sea level." And then we came out and the road was fixed and it was beautiful, and it meant that more and more people could go down to the county park, which wasn't the county park then, but eventually became the county park. It's very emotional. I mean, I fully understand how everyone feels. Most people live here because they have access to the water or the beach. I spent my life at the beach and on the water. I don't go so much anymore. I don't want to be out in the sun. But it's a very tough decision, and I don't want to say too much because it's in litigation, so I really can't. But I fully do understand how everyone feels. And I hope that we can come to either some sort of a compromise, or the judge will see how important this is for our community and for the well-being of the people who live here.
Thanks, Nance. Bill?
Just one quick thing, Gary. My heart always picks up when I see them out there painting the lines in the village and the parking places and so on, and I want you to keep that whip going. And thank you for pushing them so far.
Yes, and thank you for the STOP at the railroad. It's back. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks. Yeah.
I had a very serious complaint, by the way, this week that I told Gary. Somebody complained to me that we used to have a sign over by the lake that said duck crossing, and it had a big duck and I think 3 or 4 little ones, and it's missing in action. And they really were pretty peeved about this, and I told them, well, we'd see if Donald Trump or somebody could do something about it. And Gary's...
It's been made, it's not up yet.
Okay.
Gary did satisfy me that it only cost $25 to make another duck sign. So.
That's good.
But I'll tell you who to send the $25 bill to and see what kind of screaming we get. That's it.
All right, thanks. Was it, again, another passionate meeting, and people spoke, and they spoke with their hearts, and brought some facts into it also, and, it's a tough situation for this board, and I want to thank you guys for, not only for these public hearings, but I know for myself, walking down the street's difficult, so I can only imagine what it is for everybody else here. And I thank you guys for the effort and the work that you're doing, and listening to people and coming back and participating in this process, because it's definitely not easy, And then on another note, Doug Murtha passed away this week, and Doug was the 21st mayor of the village of Southampton. He served, I think, 6 years as the mayor, and he was a good guy. In the driver's seat, actually lived right down the street from me, and it's suffering from Alzheimer's for the last 10 plus years, and it was tough on him and his family, and he was loved Southampton. He was a good community guy, and I know that on Mondays when they're having the services and stuff, and so, but he will be missed, and but I know he's in a better place now. He had a very rough go the last 7 or 8 years, so our hearts and prayers go out to the entire Murtha family. Yeah. So that being said, we have a second public comment section. Someone like to speak? Anyone from the public like to speak? Okay. That being said, I'm going to make a motion to close the public part of the meeting and adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.